Something big is brewing for the San Antonio Spurs as Brian Windhorst reveals details about De'Aaron Fox's upcoming contract extension and how it's going to come quite soon. We got to dive into the report, plus what's going on with the Spurs right now with Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle both struggling in their last game, and how a solution to the Spurs' long-term success is now more obvious than ever. We got to talk about a lot of stuff, a lot of very interesting things coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest. But guys, as you know, before we get into it, quick reminder, 3/4 of you watching this video haven't hit that free subscribe button. We got Spurs content almost every single day, and if you want to stay up to date, this is the spot to be. Let's dive right into the video, and I want to start right here with the last game. And look, there's a problem with this. I'm not going to talk about the results, which was very bad, as you all know. Look, we don't want to talk about that, but we have to talk about the shooting percentages. And when we're looking here at Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, and Stephon Castle, those are our backcourt guys. That is the backcourt core for this season. That's the 4 players, the 2 starters, well, really 3 starters, and then the bench guard. 1 for 10, 3 for 16. That's 4 for 26. Plus 1 for 9, that's 5 for 35, and you add Stephon Castle, that's 6 for 45. 6 for 45 just from those guards. Now, that can be a problem in and of itself, but it presents a very interesting solution, because right now, De'Aaron Fox, he's looked very good for the team, but the fact that the Spurs are having nights like this, as they're looking towards a draft that's got some decent talent. Just saying. Mr. Cooper Flag is sitting there right at the top, and it might be season to do that. De'Aaron Fox, even if he has one-off game here and there, like, if his finger's hurting at all, I think he's got to step out to get that surgery. I'm not a medical professional. That's my fans' opinion. And I think a lot of you guys are seeing that as well, saying that as well. And after the most recent game, it's never been more obvious. But again, I got to dive into some other stuff as well. And this is an article that I will link down below talking about the same thing, as Wemby's injury takes the Spurs out of playing contention and to shift their focus into maximizing their pick in the draft. Currently, they have the 10th worst record in the NBA. When combined with the unprotected first-round pick they have from the Hawks, they could have 2 top 10 picks in the 2025 draft. And this is the big thing for me, because right now, the Spurs tanking will do nothing but good for the team. A surgery on De'Aaron Fox now will do nothing but good for his long-term extension with the team that we're actually going to talk about in just a second. But the problem is when you have all these guys, you have your Fox, your Chris Paul, your Vassell, and your Stephon Castle, and you lose to the Pelicans, at that point, it's like, look, I know it's just one game, and I don't usually like to overreact to one game. I think I'm just reeling from the emotions of this whole Victor Wembanyama, Gregg Popovich thing, and I think a lot of you guys are the same, but can you really blame me? I mean, look at the standings right now. These are all the teams below 500 in the NBA, and you can see the Spurs and Hawks, they're right there, just really close to each other. The Hawks are actually about to dip below the Spurs, it looks like. I mean, the Hawks have lost 3 in a row. The Spurs have lost 2 in a row, and you can only assume the Spurs are going to continue to lose. But a team like the Raptors actually has, I believe, the easiest, or like top 5 easiest schedules remaining. The Spurs have, I think it's like 6th or 7th hardest schedule remaining. There's a lot more question marks with this when it comes towards the end of the season. And if you look at the tankathon, as of right now, you got San Antonio and Atlanta right there at 10 and 11. You're borderline at 2 top 10 picks. I feel like we talk about this every single video, but the solution is clear. It's obvious at this point. You don't, like, obviously you want to try and win games. You don't want to purposely try and lose. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to the choice between winning games, trying to win and push through injury or ailments that, if you're not at 100%, versus just, letting that heal up and go for it all next season when Wemby is back healthy. Fox is hopefully going to be at full strength with his hand and wrist. Though he always kind of has injuries throughout his whole career, and like his hand, his fingers, his wrist. It's kind of weird. So maybe it's going to happen again anyway. Who knows? But Chris Paul, like, I know it's maybe his last season. We don't know what's going on. But like at this point, you're looking at these guys right now. We got Noah Senge and Liam McNeely as the projected 2 picks to the Spurs. I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about those 2 guys there, but another fellow UConn guy could be interesting for Castle, bringing in Liam McNeely. But again, 2 diverse wings, and you also have the chance at landing this guy. Just wanted to say that again. Like, that's still very possible. So to me, at this point, like, especially like with Sochan, who had his injury as well, you can afford to sit him maybe a few more games. Harrison Barnes isn't getting any younger. You have reasons to sit these guys. So I'm not going to ramble about that for too much longer. Let me know what your thoughts are on that down below. But we got to transition into the recent stuff with De'Aaron Fox's contract, and the first thing comes from Brian Windhorst. I'm going to flash this up on the screen. Whoop, there it is. I would expect Fox to sign a big contract extension in the summer. It was pretty much understood that was the way it was going to go. So no matter what happens, that's what you're watching with them. Now, of course, we know that De'Aaron Fox's contract is not actually officially up until next season, but you can sign the extension this season. And there's an intricacy here, which is why, yes, like your immediate reaction might just be, yeah, we knew this. We know this is happening. But there's intricacies to this because for ESPN's Bobby Marks, Fox is eligible to sign a 4-year, $229 million extension this summer, which is $57.3 a season. Since he was traded during the season, he'll have to wait the 6 months, so he'll have to wait until August to sign the deal. But Marks did point out that if Fox were to play out of his current deal and sign a new contract with bird rights in the summer of 2026, because bird rights are good too, you can go over the cap to sign a player, so you can make another move and do that, whatever. He could get up to $296 million over 5 years. So that's the big difference here, right? We're talking 57.3 over 4 years, or if he waits another year, he could get a 5-year, $59.2 million per year deal. But based on Windhorst's comments, it seems like Fox is just going to sign the extension this summer to get it done and lock himself in as a part of the Spurs' new dynamic duo. So I actually find that very interesting because De'Aaron Fox has had quite a good season so far. I mean, again, 24.5 points per game, and since coming to the Spurs, he has been one of their top performers. Last night aside, he's looked very good, and we see that vision for him alongside Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the core as the years go on. And to sign that 4-year extension versus the 5-year extension, I would argue it kind of helps the Spurs as well. This is actually pretty good because think about it. He's up next year, right? So we're talking about a year from now when he'll be just over 28 years old, and he'll be taking a 4-year extension until the time he's 32 versus 33 years old. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but for guards whose game is largely reliant, not fully reliant in Fox's case, but largely reliant on athleticism, that fall off comes a lot sooner rather than later. So even that 1 year could make a difference. Now, I don't expect Fox to fall off a cliff by the time he's 32 or 33. That's not what I'm saying. But I just do think it's much better for the Spurs. One, because you're getting him at a lower average annual value, a lower AAV. And two, you're getting Fox through his prime. And then you're also opening up your window to assign other people a little sooner as Wemby turns 24, 25 years old. He's starting to hit his prime. Then you can go make some other moves for other guys. You're basically just kind of tacking on guy after guy as Wemby's prime is coming along. So it makes sense timeline-wise. It makes sense commitment-wise. It makes sense money-wise for the Spurs. And what seems just like a simple thing, like, yeah, we knew De'Aaron Fox was just going to sign his extension this offseason. It's actually better than I thought at first. So let me know your thoughts down below on Fox and all the rest of the stuff going on in the Spurs organization with the guards. Should they sit? Should they play? That's up to you. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on all that down below because it's getting a little interesting. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.